Virginia could very well switch over to red. And what is that telling us about the direction of the country? I think it's telling us a whole lot right now. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Trish Regan Show. I am Trish. Portions of today's program are brought to you by Immunity Armor Gold, the most advanced immunity boosting formula you can get in one single product. Go to immunityarmorgold.com and use promo code TRISH10 to get 10% off. That's immunityarmorgold.com, promo code TRISH10. But wow, I'm watching what's happening unfolding right now in Virginia, and it looks like Terry McAuliffe is really being given a run for his money by Glenn Youngkin. Youngkin could actually pull this thing off. If you look at the polling data, what it shows is this tremendous momentum. And you know, it started, if you would, back in August with the horrific withdrawal out of Afghanistan by the administration, and people started to kind of sour on the Biden team and anybody connected to President Biden. And then it was just made worse by none other than Terry McAuliffe himself when in September he said the following after being asked about critical race theory in school and whether parents had a right to really stand up and say, wait a second, we don't like what's being taught. This was his response.
I believe parents should be in charge of their kids' education.
Mr. McAuliffe, 30 seconds.
So first of all, this shows how clueless Glenn Youngkin is. He doesn't understand what the laws were because he's never been involved here in helping Virginia. But it was not. The parents had the right to veto books, Glenn, not to be knowledgeable about it, also take them off the shelves. And I'm not going to let parents come into schools and actually take books out and make their own decisions.
You vetoed it.
So, yeah, I
stopped
the bill that I don't think parents should be telling schools what they should teach.
Okay, so therein lies the problem here, because don't forget how this country was set up, right? In such a way so that parents, local communities really could have a say in everything that happened in their community, including what their children learn in school. Think about how each local school district has a school board that's elected by the people. And that school board is in charge of administering those schools and administrating them in such a way that they're following through with the ideals and the wishes of the parents in that community. The idea that you're going to just shut them out, I mean, it feels very Orwellian. It feels, frankly, very Soviet Union style. It doesn't feel very American. And so when he said that, it really touched a nerve with people. I mean, again, coming on the heels of Afghanistan, nobody was happy to see any of that. Even if you wanted to get out of Afghanistan, which I did, that was not the way to do it. And now you have this issue of CRT being taught in schools in such a way that shames some students of their history and of their country, period, in a way that many people do not believe is productive. And that voice, those voices are not allowed to be heard that would be dissenting. That style of education, at least according to this guy, McAuliffe, well, you got a real problem there. And I think it's quite possible that he loses tomorrow. He loses on November 2nd. And when he loses, that should be a big wake-up call for Democrats all across the country that they have gone too far, and that the individual still matters. I mean, not to mention the dirty tricks that they were trying to play. You saw that, right? The Lincoln Project was then involved with that one and trying to put some people out there that looked like they were sympathetic to Charlottesville, etc. And they staged that entire thing. It all came out. These were paid actors by the Lincoln Group trying to make Youngkin look like he was some kind of supremacist. I mean, the whole thing, it just speaks volumes about how awful politics has gotten in this country and the lengths to which each party will go to, including those on the fringe, on the side, to see the other side elected. Again, this was an event staged by the Lincoln Group, the very anti-Trump group. So it really, I think, speaks volumes about where we are as a nation, where we are politically as a country, and it's not good. It really feels to me, and I've said this before, like we're just losing our minds. I mean, you think about the $450,000 per person that the Biden administration is considering, according to a report in the Wall Street Journal, giving out because of illegal immigrants that were separated from their families when they came to this country illegally. $450,000 per person. They're estimating about $1 million per family. Again, where's the money going to come from? Separately, you need to have deterrence, right? And that's part of the reason why we have borders, why we had even the construction of the border wall to act as a deterrent, just physically, to show something. So it really does feel like we're increasingly losing our minds. I want to give a brief word from one of our sponsors here as we look at winter coming upon us here. We're heading right into winter season and fall, and you know what it means? All of us can benefit from having a stronger immune system. Immunity Armor Gold's 9 key ingredients work together as a force multiplier that actually helps your body to build a stronger immune system. In addition to better immunity, some users report sustained energy levels throughout the day, better sleep quality, healthier blood pressure levels, even improved hair growth, particularly among women over 50. Immunity Armor Gold is made in the USA. It's GMO, gluten, and allergen free. Plus, it has no stimulants, artificial sweeteners, nor colors. And the best part is there are no pills to swallow because it's made in a powdered form that mixes in water. So go to immunityarmorgold.com and use promo code Trish10 to get your 10% off. That's immunityarmorgold.com, promo code Trish10. But wow, it really feels like we've just kind of lost it. And, you know, I would say on the one hand, yes, it feels like we've lost it. But then simultaneously, you've got to remember that Americans, historically anyway, have really, when push comes to shove, made the right decision. And I think in this case, whether it be Virginia or any of these other states, they're going to continually make the right decision. I mean, I think Democrats are so shocked that somehow education managed to become the biggest issue in that race. But of course it did. I mean, what is more important than your children and the education of your children? And when you feel like your children are going to be repressed and they're going to be taught to be shamed, well, that's something that's pretty powerful in terms of parents. And I think it crosses party lines. This is not a Democrat or a Republican issue. We can all say, look, you know, we've had a challenged history, right, as a nation, but we've overcome a heck of a lot. Really and truly, we've had an African-American president elected twice. We now have an African-American vice president in the Oval Office. I mean, at what point do we just have to say, look, you know, the best part of America is that you can move forward. And this is a country that creates opportunity for every single person here, regardless of where you come from, what your background is. That's the American message. And I think parents universally want that message being taught in schools. So when the Democrats try and force feed something else, when education groups try and force feed and the federal government tries to force feed something else, well, people say, wait a second. But you know, it does feel like government anyway has lost its mind. From the CRT nonsense to the $450,000 per person who came here illegally nonsense, all of this is causing Americans to really question the direction of our country under this administration, not to mention, by the way, all the inflation, which you know I talk about regularly. The disastrous economic effects of that. You can get more on all of these topics by subscribing to my newsletter, my daily newsletter. It's free. It comes out every single day. You'll get a copy of this podcast delivered to your email box. So go and sign up at trishintel.com. Again, that's trishintel.com. Download this entire audio version of the podcast on Spotify or Apple iTunes, Amazon, wherever you get your podcasts. And I'll see you right back here tomorrow. Thanks for listening, everyone.